Imagine this. The air smells of gunpowder, musket fire cracks across the hills, and George Washington's army is once again on the run. It's October 1776, and the British Empire's finest are hunting him across New York. Outnumbered, outgunned, and cornered near a quiet village called White Plains, Washington faces a choice: stand and fight, or vanish into history. This is the story of the Battle of White Plains, the fight that kept the American Revolution alive. Welcome back to the channel, history lovers. If you enjoy deep dives into the moments that shaped nations, make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and ring the bell so you never miss our weekly episodes. Today, we're traveling back to October 28, 1776, when Washington faced one of his toughest challenges yet, trying to save his army from total destruction while fighting Britain's unstoppable juggernaut. The summer of 1776 had started with soaring hopes. The Declaration of Independence had just been signed, and a new nation was born. But freedom came at a cost. By August 1776, General William Howe, commander of British forces in North America, launched a massive assault on Long Island, easily defeating Washington's inexperienced troops. It was a disaster for the Continental Army, which barely escaped across the East River under cover of night. Now, Howe's army, over 30,000 strong, was determined to crush the rebellion once and for all by capturing Washington and ending the war before the year was out. After Long Island, Washington knew New York City was indefensible. On September 15th, British troops landed on Manhattan at Kips Bay. The American defense collapsed in panic. Soldiers fled without firing a shot. Washington, furious, reportedly threw his hat to the ground and shouted, "Are these the men with whom I am to defend America?" He had no choice but to abandon the city. The British occupied Manhattan, but Washington skillfully maneuvered his army north through Harlem Heights, where he scored a small morale-boosting victory. Yet Howe was relentless, outflanking Washington again and again. By late October, the Continental Army found itself near the village of White Plains, about 25 miles north of New York City. White Plains was a patchwork of rolling hills, open fields, and small farms, offering both opportunity and danger. Washington's main force of about 14,000 troops was spread across defensive positions along the Bronx River. But only a few thousand would actually see combat that day. Facing him, Howe advanced with roughly 13,000 British and Hessian soldiers at his disposal, veterans of European warfare. His plan was simple but deadly: pin Washington's army, swing around its right flank, and trap it against the Bronx River and the open country beyond. For Washington, the stakes couldn't be higher. Lose here, and the revolution could end before winter. On October 28th, the morning dawned gray and damp. The fields were slick from rain, the river swollen. Soldiers on both sides shivered in their damp uniforms, muskets clutched tight. At around 10 a.m., the British columns began to move. Drums rolled, fifes whistled, and scarlet-coated troops marched through the mist toward the American lines. The battle for White Plains had begun. The key to the battlefield was Chatterton's Hill, a steep rise overlooking the plains west of the village. Washington knew that if the British took it, his army would be exposed. He ordered General Joseph Spencer, with Colonel Alexander McDougall's brigade and Colonel John Haslett's Delaware Regiment, to hold the position, around 2,000 to 2,500 men in total. Under orders from General Howe, Hessian Commander Wilhelm von Heister, coordinated by staff officers like General William Erskine, sent assault columns led by Colonel Johann Rall and Colonel Karl von Donop across the river. British and Hessian artillery thundered, cannonballs tearing through fences and trees. The Americans answered with their own guns, the smoke blanketing the hillside. The Hessians charged uphill, bayonets fixed, their drums beating a menacing rhythm. Twice they were thrown back by determined American fire. But when fresh British and Hessian infantry joined the attack, the defenders began to crumble. After fierce fighting, the Americans retreated in good order, leaving the hill and the battlefield in British hands. The battle had been lost, but the army had not. With Chatterton's Hill lost, Washington realized his line was vulnerable. Yet, rather than panic, he made a master move. He pulled his troops back in good order to stronger ground in the north, near North Castle Heights. Howe, cautious as ever, decided not to pursue immediately. Instead, he halted the next day and waited for reinforcements and supplies. That hesitation, a pattern throughout the war, gave Washington exactly what he needed: time. Within 48 hours, Washington had withdrawn his entire army northward, avoiding encirclement and certain defeat. By early November, the British advanced to find the American positions fortified and secure. Howe, frustrated and wary of another costly frontal attack, decided to abandon the chase. Instead, he turned his attention south, toward Fort Washington on Manhattan, a decision that would prove disastrous. On November 16th, British forces captured Fort Washington, taking 2,800 American prisoners, one of the worst losses of the war. But even that couldn't erase the fact that Washington had escaped again. The Continental Army, though battered, remained alive, and that meant the revolution still had a heartbeat. The Battle of White Plains was officially a British victory. Howe had driven Washington from the field and secured the ground. Yet it was a hollow triumph. The goal had been to destroy the Continental Army, and that hadn't happened. Casualties reflected the limited scope of the fight, around 200 to 300 British and Hessian losses, compared to 150 to 250 American casualties, mostly wounded. For Washington, it was another lesson in survival. He couldn't yet beat the British in open battle, but he could outthink them. His army was learning discipline, endurance, and, most importantly, the art of retreating to fight another day. In the coming weeks, Washington's forces would march through New Jersey, dwindling with every mile. But just when it seemed the cause was lost, he struck back, crossing the icy Delaware River on Christmas night, capturing Trenton and changing the course of the war. The Battle of White Plains stands as a turning point in Washington's leadership. It taught him that preservation was victory. He didn't need to win every battle. He just needed to keep his army alive until the British grew tired, overextended, and isolated. Historians often call White Plains a draw in disguise. The British gained land, but Washington gained experience, the kind that would one day win independence. As the smoke cleared, the people of White Plains returned to find their farms trampled and burned, their fields littered with musket balls and broken wagons. But from that destruction rose the resilience that defined the revolution itself, an unbreakable will to survive. A Hessian officer later wrote, "The rebels fought better than expected. They retreat, but not in disorder." Meanwhile, an American soldier recorded in his journal, "We fought them till we could no longer stand, then withdrew under fire." General Washington rode among us calm as ever. He looked not like a man defeated, but one who knew victory was yet to come. Those words perfectly capture the spirit of White Plains, not triumph or surrender, but defiance. Washington's ability to evade total destruction again and again frustrated his British foes and inspired his troops. Each narrow escape, Long Island, Harlem Heights, White Plains, was a thread in the fabric of victory. He was not a general of lightning attacks or dazzling victories. He was the master of endurance. And at White Plains, that endurance shone brightest. So, was the Battle of White Plains a loss? On paper, yes. But in the long game of revolution, it was a masterpiece of survival. Washington's retreat kept the cause alive, setting the stage for the surprise victories at Trenton and Princeton just weeks later. Sometimes, the greatest victories are the ones history calls defeats. If you enjoyed this story of strategy, courage, and survival, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Do you think Washington was lucky at White Plains or brilliant? And if you love exploring forgotten chapters of the American Revolution, check out our video on the Battle of Harlem Heights next, where Washington's men finally struck back. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and keep making history.